the back of his skull to rebuild his cheekbones. His nose and jaw were so badly damaged that his face was completely flat. You can see that in the x-rays. His surgeon said he had never seen anyone survive such terrible injuries. So yes, as the sole survivor of the crash, Trevor Rhys-Jones was lucky. But he didn't look it when I saw him that day. The poor bloke was a mess, and the sight that greeted me when he got out of the car was a shocking one. I filled up with tears, which I had to hide because I didn't want him to know how bad he looked, though I suspect he already realised. He was hunched over and had probably lost 3 stones in weight. His face was in such a state that you would not have known it was Trevor. The guy could hardly speak and was slurring his words. It didn't help that he was probably on strong meds for the pain and to help with his recovery. I can't remember what I said to him. I probably fell back on the usual dark, squaddy humour that always seemed to help when a situation was truly terrible, though that wouldn't have lasted long. He was here for a reason, and I was there to help my mate get to Dodi's grave. I knew this was a big moment for him. I had brought a golf buggy round to the front of the al-Fayed house. I helped Trevor into it and drove him out to the grave, which was in a beautiful part of the grounds. Straight away I realised that every bump was going right through him, causing Trevor more pain, so I had to drive very slowly. When we finally got to the graveside, there were people working on the site, finishing the mausoleum that Mohamed al-Fayed had built to memorialise his son. I asked them to leave so I could bring Trevor to the graveside. It was obvious he would not be able to get out of the golf buggy without my help, so I bent low, put my hands under him and lifted that big man up and out of there like he was a kid. Then I helped him to walk slowly to the grave. I knew Trevor was a tough bloke who could take it, but he was clearly in a lot of pain, and I questioned the wisdom of doing this, because it was obviously taking a lot out of a seriously injured man. "Trevor," I said, "are you sure?" But he insisted on going through with it. "I am doing this," he said firmly. He was 29 at the time of the accident, and had been strong and fit. Now he was in such a bad way that it was like helping an old man. I had to support him the whole time, and I was very aware that when we got there, things might become even worse if the grief hit him. We finally made it, and stood together silently at the graveside for a while, both of us thinking our own thoughts. The marble gravestone had the single word, Dodi, carved on it. Sometimes the light would shine down and make it look like Dodi was 2 words, not 1. Do and D appearing to be in different shades. I wasn't the only member of the security team to have noticed that. Like everyone else, I was desperate to know the truth about what had happened that night, and how Diana and Dodi could possibly have been killed. Trevor was perhaps the only man alive who might know the truth, so, in the end, I had to ask him. "Mate," I said, "what was the score in Paris? What happened?" "I can't remember," he said. "I'm telling you now, I honestly cannot remember, and I wish I could." He told me his last memory was of leaving the Ritz Hotel before climbing into that car, and I believed him. Then he said simply, "I hate it." He meant he hated not knowing. It seemed that the only person to witness the final moments of Diana and Dodi up close was just as much in the dark about the events of that night as everybody else. Conspiracy theorists think Trevor's amnesia is convenient, but I can assure you that it wasn't convenient for him, and they didn't see the awful damage he suffered in the crash. No one was more desperate to know what happened than he was. Trevor had massive traumatic injuries to his face and body. Is it any wonder that his mind and memory were affected too? I had known Trevor for about 3 years. We joined Mohamed al-Fayed's security team just weeks apart in 1995 and got on well from the beginning. He is a really good bloke and a mild guy. If you met Trevor, you would never know he was a former para, let alone a top bodyguard. It helped that we were very similar. At 6'2", Trevor was even the same height and build as me. On occasion, we would wear each other's suits. For example, if he came into work and found that he was suddenly off somewhere smart at short notice and needed to wear something more formal, he'd borrow mine. Trevor had a happy-go-lucky attitude to life, but was very professional when it came to his job, just like me. Princess Diana's long-term personal protection officer, Ken Worf, might well have been the best bodyguard in the world, but in his autobiography he attacked